TJ Singh, Research Vice President from Gartner. So we have about close to 600 to 700 delegates. So I encourage you, I shouldn't even say encourage you, each one of you must ask a question. Because we have about 90 minutes for this whole panel discussion. I might run out. My voice might run out, and I'm flying back to Singapore tonight, and I'm anchoring tomorrow at 6 a.m. Okay, don't forget, 6 a.m. I'm really cutting it close. Thank you very much, DJ. Please take your seat. May we also please call up on stage the Vice President for Research at the Everest Group, H. Karthik. Mr. Karthik, there you go. Welcome. And we have, once again, from KPMG India. He's a partner of our speaker earlier. He is Jaitip Ghosh. Earlier we had Viral Thakur from KPMG India. And now we have the players in the Philippines. May we please call on the Managing Director, Asia Pacific, from Convergys, Marife Zamora. Our next panelist is from ePerformax. He is the Vice President, Ricky Santiago. And also joining us on stage is the Chief Executive Officer and Managing Director of Taking You Forward, Bradley Paul Norman. And finally, the President of the Contact Center Association of the Philippines and Senior Executive BPO Service Delivery Operations Lead for Accenture, Benedict Hernandez. Gentlemen, please take your seats. Unbelievable. It's a male-dominated industry. We only have Marife here from Convergys representing the panel. All right, let's start off with maybe Marife, the ladies first. Let's start off with you. And earlier we had presentations on global industry trends, the global economic outlook, and a presentation on the Philippine economy from Dr. Bernardo Villegas. Maybe you could give us your thoughts, your perspectives on what you think about their respective presentations and how they impact your business here in the Philippines. Marife.
Thank you, Rico. You know, I was on the 12 noon flight from Manila, and let me tell you, half of the passengers on that flight were flying in for ICQE. So congratulations, Benedict, Jojo, Rafi.
I haven't gotten a raise, but because I love my company so much, it's labor of love. Labor of love.
I think that's something that is, I don't know, for me, I'm not that old, but for me, when growing up, no, not compared to you.
I think you're starting to see my white hair here.
Okay. Loyalty is something important.
Absolutely, loyalty.
It's very lacking here. I'm not sure why exactly. My question is what, as CCAP and the BPOs themselves do in order to deal with these challenges that
There you go, Benedict Hernandez.
Actually, tomorrow there's a lot of sessions that are going to tackle those exact ones. As I shared earlier, those are some of the key issues already said, but just to share with this forum. I'll give you my perspective on the first one. and then I'll have maybe Marife as the biggest operator, please talk about attrition. So, on the first one, earlier today we made a big celebration about success of our near hire program. So now we're shifting to near fire. So you want to fire them, but you can't fire them. I think it's the opinion. I'll share with you my personal experience over the years around this. My personal view is that sometimes our HR and legal have become so careful, extremely cautious in the labor code to an extreme. And I think you see variability between BPO companies of how they've actually kept behind it. In short, the general principle based on performance is based on very basic and I think fair principles of performing well. Did you document that? Did you give me a job where I still failed? Then it's fair that you can actually deal with your operations. Sometimes our main challenge, it's not error manager are actually disciplined, right? So doing perfect work and a lot of effort, and sometimes Filipinos emotionally are not ready to have tough discussion. You're falling behind. Here's what you need to do. Here are the behaviors. Here's your goal. And sometimes you carry on a non-performer. You sometimes mention it casually. You don't do the operational discipline. And by the time you really need to let go of the person, you don't have anything. If you go back and distill to the basics, they're very easy to follow. They're very fair. In the association with the other groups is we do have a partnership and involved with working with the Department of Labor and Employment. So there are many things taking this forward. But at the very least, in that particular element, I think it's more than really reality as to what we're allowed or not allowed. I think we over-interpreted the restrictions.
Yeah. Marife, 36,000 employees converges.
There are levels.
She will not give us an exact percentage of the record. Okay, I'm
There
sorry.
are a number of levers that affect retention. One, I think, Benedict consideration. Another is being able to for your people both professionally and personally. For example, we have a built from within item which measures a supervisor develop his people. 50% of our leaders are built from within. We have moved to team leader, operations manager, senior operations director position in from the marketplace perspective from so that is one. It's a conscious effort to develop your kind of development programs do you have in place in their position. What personal development plan ensure that his development is being focused on. Across you have, a working environment that's have engagement.
Never check out. What we try to do is we profile the agent very well. A program that is very much like, my stuff. When I was in the military, they now sometimes you didn't get the right position right. Like in life, sometimes you make the right decision, other times you've got to make that decision right. So it's the same with staff. Sometimes they use service and they're not. They end up being very good sales agents or whatnot. So then we have a balanced scorecard system. If they start to fail in a certain area, we reprofile, retrain them again, put them back into another area. Normally it's based and you're out. Now, there's a lot of people bag the hell out of labour laws here in this country, and quite frankly, I actually think they're fairly reasonable, right? Touch wood against us, TYF, coming up to 5 years. And remember for a while, because I ran companies in Australia, for a while there, the employer, you could not get rid of a person. It was very, very difficult. I had a couple of cases where we had people that would literally, you wanted to first day and they would sit there for the next 6 weeks and collect the wage. So you could not, once again, I believe the labour law here in this country is fair. It's sometimes it's a little bit dubious. As long as it's well documented, once again, having a military background is great, because as long as you very thoroughly document everything, coaching, training, evaluation on weekly new hires, weekly, fortnightly, monthly and quarterly. So, you know, I think it's very good in that regard.
All right, so the Philippines dubious. You have your own set of ways to basically bring down the attrition rate, which Bradley says 1% per month. What about you, Ricky?
Our attrition rate?
Yes.
Lower than manifest.
But still no number. Okay.
No, I think when I was listening to Benedict and I was listening to the question, Benedict's right. Document it. Okay. Constant feedback. They restructure out, and they know exactly where they're going. You know, if they don't improve, they're going out the door. However, of those 10 people you have to let go, why should the 3 people actually sue you? So, Filipinos are still very, the lost. How were they let go? Were they let go to just used and let go because it didn't succeed or whatever? So there are things HRT could do in terms of being fair and that empathy. Okay? You're not just an asset, a cold asset that you let go of. Okay? You're a human resource of our growth engine. That's it. Okay? Usually isn't large enough to take care of 37,000 people in an organization. So it's really important that finance managers, everyone, okay, should know the basics of HR. If we find it uncomfortable to give feedback, then we probably shouldn't be a PTP person. I think we're learning this, and you're right. Before, like across labor union president, that these are different. These are intelligent people. They're articulate, they're smart. So if we treat them, even if we have to let them go, if we treat them in the person that they probably wouldn't sue you. In fact, I don't look at the metric so much as how many have. Well, we look at that, how many people have, how many labor cases. Of course, another one is how many have you. Follow due process and be fair and firm, and be empathetic when the time comes that we have to let them go.